Welcome to Sports Wrap Live. I'm Jennifer Lee. After taking the North Regional title, the softball team is traveling to Salem, Virginia today for their first World Series appearance since 2007. When it starts getting closer to finals week, one place on campus that you can count on being busy is the library. Joey Kramer scored the winning goal today, which earned him Conference Player of the Week. Studies have shown that 80% of the business Liberty Tech gets is from walk-ins after they see the waiver outside the building. After defeating Oneonta 3-1 today, the Cardinals will prepare to take on Buff State in the first round of the SUNY playoffs. More than 200 people came out to the Walk to Cure Diabetes this weekend at the PARC Oval in Plattsburgh. With support from the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, the goal of the day was to raise funds for research to find a cure for type 1 diabetes. Erin Dolger is a member of one of the biggest teams participating, and she has her own reasons for walking.
I have type 1 diabetes. My dad is type 1. Lisa, one of my friends, she is type 1, so it's really personal.
The family-friendly event provided snacks and refreshments for all participants, and prizes like gift certificates were given away to winners who entered in a raffle. Jill Folsom, the JDRF Government Relations volunteer, also has a special connection for being so involved in the event.
My son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 5. 2 years later, JDRF came up here to the North Country and started their first walk. Since then, we've moved around quite a bit and just trying to get out the word about type 1 diabetes and the difference between type 1 and type 2.
Type 1 diabetes is a lifelong immune disease that stops a person's pancreas from producing insulin, which is a hormone that helps the body get energy from food. With all the support the Northeastern New York chapter has received, their efforts have reached a higher power.
We work with the different government congressmen and senators in New York, and then we go down to Washington, D.C. and try to get funding for research.
The Walk to Cure Diabetes started in Plattsburgh about 5 years ago, and since then, the awareness of how many people in this area are affected by this disease has increased. You can't tell by looking at a person if they suffer from type 1 diabetes, but since being diagnosed last year, Dolger feels there's a real sense of community.
Seeing like everybody come out and do this, you know you're not alone.
The next upcoming walk will be held this weekend in Albany. In Plattsburgh, Jennifer Lee, Newswatch 17. How has the attitude been with the boys? What's the overall mood been as they're seeing tougher teams down south?
Yesterday with us, we played the 3A state champion from South Carolina, which was the host school, so that made things interesting to say the least. We didn't get through the whole game. They 10-run ruled us.
In the Class A semifinals, Rochester East beat John Glenn 66-49. Standout player for East was Renetta Fordham, who went on to make 4 3-pointers during the first half. Will Love suffered the loss for Plattsburgh as St. James had 11 hits in the game when it ended after only 5 innings of play. Jack Chalosky had only 2 hits for the Hornets. In the AA class semifinals, Cicero North Syracuse defeated the previously unbeaten Ossining 79-51. The game decided more than just who goes to the state finals, but was also a head-to-head matchup for the possible National Player of the Year. In a rematch of last year's sectional final game against Beekmantown and Plattsburgh, met their regular season opener, and let's see what Beekmantown ended up doing. A lot of the action came in this game, almost piled up into one inning. In the bottom of the 5th, Plattsburgh at bat, but they fly out to center field and they end up leaving a runner on third. This is the top of the 6th. Beekmantown gets walked for 2 at-bats with 2 base runners on. PHS will take a minute to meet at the mound and talk about what they're going to do next. Still in the 6th, Beekmantown gets their bats finally going with a big hit towards the right side of center field. No catch, though. They throw it into third, but Beekmantown is called safe at the bag, and they now have runners on second and third.
Talk about the game yesterday. What did the Cardinals do to take the first game of the series and get some momentum going?
I think, unfortunately, Plattsburgh didn't get off to they didn't have a steady scoring throughout the whole game. We actually had about 4 or 5 innings with no score until the end, where Casey Brighton hit the great hit out to center field and broke the tie. But I think today they're definitely going to have to get the bats going to score earlier in the game. John St. Germain is a poll worker at the community center in Plattsburgh, where today locals are casting their vote for the general election. Starting last year, a new polling system was put into place to make tallying votes easier, called the ballot marking device.
When you get all done, you don't have to hand count a whole lot of ballots or anything else, and it can all be transferred right onto a computer.
He's noticing positive feedback from voters.
Most people are getting used to them. You have a few people that still would rather have the old machines.
The ballot workers have found no issues with the new polling system, but others have a different opinion. Lloyd Favreau is a citizen who doesn't see the new system as beneficial.
It seems like we went backwards instead of forward because we went back to the paper ballot.
Old way of voting was a simple flip of a switch, but now ballots must be marked with a marker and fed through a machine, but some feel there isn't enough direction for them.
You just get the paper ballot and the inspector will tell you just fill in the black mark.
While the ballot marking device has made it quicker to count votes, debate is still up if it's made the election process easier. In Plattsburgh, Jennifer Lee, Newswatch 17.